we have a problem.
We do.
Live stream is stuck.
What did you do, Rick? I can't even hear you.
Sorry, guys. I restarted it, so people have missed like the last, minute or two. Sorry about that.
So wait, and do I need to enter? Okay, it's live again.
What is it? What we're talking about?
Oh, okay. So apparently, first live stream, first technical issues. Oh wait, this is very strange because now I get distracted because I see myself there, and I see subtitles at the same time, which is kind of magical. Okay, guys, we're live now, so so there might be some more technical issues, but actually the main point why we're doing this now is because there were a lot of complaints about our content being old, because we first recorded it locally, then sent it to an editor who edited it and fixed the audio and stuff like that. And it was always like a delay for a couple of weeks, even sometimes. So now and then people are like, oh, but that's old stuff. Yeah, but that's in crypto. Everything that's not 1 or 2 days old is already old stuff. So that's why we're trying to do this right now.
There will be some hiccups, and as long as people are okay with there being some hiccups whilst we learn what we're doing, then it should get better from here.
Exactly.
Or not.
Well, if this really fails, then it will be a one-time thing, and that will be the end of it. But you have to try, right?
Well, we'll see. I think people would prefer a kind of a crappy live show than a well-produced like stereo show. So, guys, tell us what you think.
Yeah, and then I have to follow the chat. That's a bit too much for me to ask.
Don't watch the chat. Let's go through our topics and ask for questions later.
Yeah.
So maybe we should play the intro video. I'm just saying.
Okay, Ricardo, go for it. Ricardo is our editor, so.
Yeah, that's why it's going to fail. Just like a consensus.
Magical crypto. Magical crypto. Magical crypto. The best thing to do is simply to hodl. What's a young pony to do in a sea of shady ICOs? A lion's courage can light up even the darkness of shadows. Unlike the corporate suits, the whale panda is wise. A chicken dreams about the moon while soaring in the skies. As Bitcoin sees new all-time highs. All around me I see big blockheads. Magical crypto. The best thing to do is simply to hodl. We'll always buy the dip, and we'll always be the best of the rest.
It lost because it's some delay.
I think Rick has to tell us. We still can't hear you, Rick.
We're back. We're back and talking. It is what it is.
Okay, so are we live now or not?
Yes, we're live. We're live. We're live. Just
okay. Okay, so we need to figure something out for next time, I guess.
The delay is a bit trippy, but and yeah, I'm looking at it on the side, and I need to figure out how to cue you guys in 15 seconds before.
Yeah, you should time the difference. Okay, so let's start with our first topic, which is TruStory. So Preeti was a very vocal Ethereum woman who did a raise for 3 million for that TruStory debate forum, which made no sense. I mean, if you guys ever actually checked it out, it was basically it looked like sort of Reddit, and that's about it. I really didn't pay much more attention to it, but now it's closed.
Well, the focus was to talk about ICOs, right? To debate about ICOs, how valid they are.
What was it specifically about ICOs? I think it was about pretty much anything you wanted to talk about. TruStory.
Well, she got a lot of crap for it when she announced it initially. I actually don't remember what it was all about, but
Well, it's not ICOs. It's supposed to be about everything, like sensible,
ROFL.
even-sided debate, I guess. And the idea is that you're incentivized by having their TruStory token. I don't know the ticker, but because you have that token, you care about their platform and you have skin in the game. And therefore, the quality of debates is better because you're not just some random guy on Reddit.
Is the idea that you aren't going to lie because you're a scam coin holder? I don't actually understand the point of that. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I really don't get it either. Also, note for our viewers that now usually we cut out the quiet part, which will now happen more often. Also, I saw someone call us virgin live streamers, which is kind of true.
This is very Thank you for confirming that.
Okay, so not much to talk about of the TruStory. That was the end of it, and now she's busy doing health stuff with the olive oil scam, according to her, and she was trying to do pull-ups, and that's about it. Let's move on to the next topic. So Bcash, the Bcash tax situation. So there was a new update. Did you guys read it? The guy from BTC Top made a new post today. So the initial idea, which was proposed by BTC Top and Miner via BTC and Bitcoin.com, was that there will be a 12.5% tax that the miners would put in a Hong Kong-based company, which would fund developers. I guess mostly developers. I don't think it's like marketing and stuff.
Why a Hong Kong company? That's, I mean,
I don't know.
An odd way to decentralize things.
Yeah, exactly. That was also one of the main criticisms from the inside the Bcash community. So it was very strange. And then they were like, oh, but the Bitcoin miners are paying for it. Yeah, they have around 3% of the hash rate, and 12.5% of that, it's 0.37% of the total hash rate. So yeah, that's not gonna affect Bitcoin miners at all, especially considering
I never wrapped my head around that mental gymnastic leap. How is it that Bitcoin miners are paying for their donations on their chain?
well, the point that they were making is that the mining reward for Bitcoin Cash would be 12.5% lower, so that affects the profitability of every SHA-256 miner. So because the vast majority of miners are on Bitcoin, it affects Bitcoin miners more than Bcash miners.
Right, but if you're a Bcash miner, that will affect you. But if you're a Bitcoin miner, it doesn't really do anything to you, right?
Well, in theory, the difficulty would go higher because more miners would mine. Like miners would move from the Bcash chain to the Bitcoin chain, making the difficulty higher. So
just a tiny bit higher.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like 0.37%. And if you look at the last difficulty adjustments was like 4 or 5% every time. And if you consider then the volatility of Bitcoin price over on a daily basis, I mean, it's really nothing.
Right, but I'm pretty sure a lot of the Bcash miners are not opportunistic. You're not mining Bcash for profit. You're mining it because you hold Bcash bags, and somebody has to mine that shit, or else there will be
I would say most miners are switching between Bitcoin and Bcash and maybe even BSV for profitability.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Charlie. I mean, if you look at the 5-hour gap that they had the other day, that's indicative of a bunch of miners switching. Broken code, but more likely a bunch of miners switching.
It's people taking advantage. It's miners taking advantage of the difficulty adjustment.
Yeah, but
maybe
the way they've constructed this, I actually don't fundamentally have a problem with like the whole miners paying dev tax thing. Like, I don't hate it with all my soul. And I actually think that Zcash has, that they've done a reasonable job at trying to be transparent and whatever. But the Bcash thing is just badly handled, because it seems like it's not opt-in for anyone. It's just like, deal with it or go home.
Well, it was also like proposed by 30% of the hash rate, which makes no sense if you want to enforce it. And I guess another major red flag was that they were talking about orphaning blocks that wouldn't contribute. So that's like very, very Chinese of them.
Well, the main concern for me is the guy saying that he has like a lot of hash rate and he can effectively mine at a loss and make the mining Bcash unprofitable for everyone else. So people who don't agree with this plan will just go mine Bitcoin for profit and not mine Bcash. Basically, he has like full control over the Bcash like mining network, which is kind of scary.
But that's also not true. He doesn't. He's a very small part of it.
He claims he has influence over a lot of hash power. So,
well, this guy, I don't know if you guys remember. Maybe it's time for a history lesson. But Trezor, he's been like a Bcasher, a BU guy. He's basically like trying to fork off the network for years now. And one of his claims in the past was he has $100 million to attack Corecoin. So if you Google his name in Corecoin, you can find some of those old interviews where he threatened the network. And
I remember that.
Yeah, and look where he is now.
Has he met Craig Wright? Because they seem to share a lot in common.
I don't know, but he's a Bcasher. Aren't they enemies? BSV and Bcash are enemies, right?
They are now.
Well, BSV is the real Bcash, so I'm not sure how that works.
Also, is Craig Wright like friends with anyone at this point except for Calvin and Calvin's little friends?
Maybe his lawyers.
Kevin Pham.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, sorry, I had to go in the chat because someone said that my painting behind me is crooked. And it's not crooked, it's just my camera is not straight at the moment. Yeah, so that's but now, so Bitcoin.com mining pool came back to said oh, we didn't expect this much debate and now we will not support it. And what did he actually propose today? So he came back because I didn't read it honestly because I was busy. I was being social all day.
Well, speaking of debate, the other funny thing is the initial proposal was Trezor came out and said they should adopt the no debate theory, so they shouldn't even talk about it and just do it. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was pretty rich. I like the quoting of a communist doctrine.
That's enough about Bcash. Oh no, okay. Let's talk about the difficulty adjustment. But so are they still using the EDA? Oh, how or they're using some other mechanism now? Because we had 5 hours and 30 minutes without a block 2 days ago, which it's almost impossible to happen in Bitcoin. Someone did the calculations.
Yeah, they're using I think an improved version of the original EDA, and it's still you can still kind of strip mine it or mine it for a lot and then leave it for a while until the difficulty adjusts. So miners are still taking advantage of that and making more money than just mining normally.
Okay. Yeah, well, you see it all the time. Then you have a couple of hours, almost no blocks, and then suddenly you have 20, 30, 40 in an hour, which is crazy. Good thing that ZeroConf works. Also, very interesting that the entire backlog cleared in one block of 2.3 megabytes. So 5.5 hours, no blocks, cleared in one block.
I would have expected a gigameg block to come through after 5 hours.
But this is, it's just proof that big blocks work. You have no blocks for 5 hours, and then you have one very tiny block to pick up the slack. So that's why you need giant blocks.
Well, why not then just have one giant block a day, right? Just trust zero count for everything else.
That's brilliant. Are you
Yeah.
gonna make your own Bcash chain?
Miners don't have to work as hard. They can rest for like 23 hours and then mine for an hour.
They could mine Bitcoin for 23 hours, mine Bitcoin Cash for an hour, and just why don't you just have the mempool? I mean, why even bother with mining?
That's a good point.
That's a good point.
Zero
Just
cost. Works if you work it, so work it.
wait. What if we just make an online database and we just put stuff in there? Then everyone can keep track.
But do you even need to keep track if it's just coffee purchases?
Well, yes, you just trust the person. It's like he has a digital IOU.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to the next topic. So Magical Crypto Conference. We announced a couple of speakers. We also put we announced Caitlin Long, Greg Carson, XPTO. He did a great talk last year on VC money in Bitcoin, and Caitlin obviously on regulations. Who else did we add? Adam Beck, obviously, because well,
that's Dr. Adam. Back to you.
That's Doctor. I just call him Adam. Really. There's actually a funny, not a funny story, but like you know, when he's at the Bitcoin conference, it's always like so many people just go to Adam and try to talk to him and stuff like that. 2 years ago at the hacker conference in Prague, I just we just went there somewhere to just sit down to eat something, and literally no one came to us. So it was like one-on-one, which was kind of interesting because it's the only time that ever happened with someone like that. But then again, the hacker conference in Prague is not really like that 100% Bitcoin. So who else did we announce? Meltem with the Chitcoin toilet last year was a huge hit.
I think we announced Alex Gladstein.
Oh yeah, Alex talk was probably one of the best ones, at least from the feedback that we got. It was the best one of last year. So that should really be something to look forward to. And Elaine Wu. But then again, that was not on our live stream last year, and there's no video of that because she asked.
What Elaine's going to be talking about this year, you actually need to pitch up.
Yeah. You just come. I mean, it's fun. I like the three of us because Ricardo sent this robot last year. I don't think we watched any talks live or that many, but then we make up for it afterwards. Because that's always the thing with Bitcoin conferences or with any conference I've been to. There are always like a couple of talks that I try to watch, but otherwise I just watch them later on the videos because you know it's mostly a social thing of people that you want to see or want to talk to in person, or that you like old friends that you run into, and then you're just talking or go to the booths and stuff. So
some of us had to actually work and make sure the conference was running. So
yes, indeed, that was me and Charlie because
No.
because someone showed up the first day at around 11:30,
which was when the conference started.
When I was packing bags, goodie bags from 7 in the morning, together with some of your employees.
Guys, I just want to let you know that I was there in spirit last year.
Yeah.
I really wanted to be there in person, but I'll make it up by being there this year and working at least as hard as I did last year.
You're gonna be there at 4 a.m. Doing the goodie bags.
Yeah, let's just let Rick do everything. And
the second day, you were like, "Oh, oof, yeah, I don't feel like doing the morning. I will come in around, I don't know, around 1 or 2 in the afternoon."
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, that was nice. So we have to pick up all the slack. And wait, I was actually going through my list. And of course, Elise is we also announced Elise yet already, which is great. She's a great She was like the first VC in the Bitcoin space. She's a great talker. And yeah, we have a lot of other speakers lined up, and there will be a lightning stage even. So one day, we have 2 stages. One stage will be a full day just lightning stuff. Everything lightning fast, lightning games,
And
lightning
then
development.
That same stage, the next day, Yudi's gonna turn it into a Tron stage for the whole day.
Well, if Justin pays us 1 million, we will just call it a Tron stage at that point. I mean,
1 million is cheap. We should ask
Well-
for more.
yeah, well, taking money from scammers and then using it for Bitcoin, that's a good thing, right?
Kind of. But then we have to have their name on the conference somewhere.
Just say Tron the movie.
Throw up Tron posters everywhere, the movie posters.
What else about MCC? If you're a sponsor or think about sponsoring, please reach out to us. We're still looking for sponsors because it's New York, so it isn't cheap. The venue this year is bigger, so if you want to sponsor us, great. If you want to come, great. If you want to talk, let us know. If you want to demo your Lightning app or Lightning game or whatever, we have a couple of free spots for that as well. And it looks now that the Bitcoin halving will be around the same time. Of course, it's still about 100 days left, so that might still change, but that would actually be perfect. Like a Bitcoin halving party together with MCC, that would be kind of magical.
So the halving basically indicates that we are the chosen conference of all conferences.
And now you're gonna get
right?
screwed, and it's gonna be during consensus. That's gonna be fun, or ethereal or something like that.
We just gotta manipulate the hash rate to make sure it falls on MCC. Rick, prepare $100 million.
Prepare the ASICs. Ready the battlefield.
Exactly.
And actually, there was a conference. There was a guy. What was his name, Rick? You know what I'm talking about? The guy who was funding MCC last year, and said he will do a great conference, and the name was Massive Adoption Conference, which turned out to be a scam or something. He had some pretty big names lined up. Was it a scam, or he had to refund everyone and then the website disappeared, or?
Jacob Kostecki.
Okay.
And it was great. It was fantastic because last year he promised to help us, help teach us how to run a conference.
I don't remember any of this.
That's because you never pay any attention. You're just busy with your own stuff. You just swoop in at the last minute and then say like, I organized this.
I did organize it. I made sure the live stream was working, the AV was working, everything was functional.
Yeah, I didn't see you behind the cameras.
I was nearby. I was also announcing people too. And the reason why I came late on the second day was so that Charlie could have some airtime on the stage.
Whatever.
Yeah,
You
Charlie
just
was
wanted
like
to
complaining
sleep
about
in.
it.
You're saying like, I want to sleep in tomorrow, so I'm coming in late. And that's what
Can't
happened.
prove that.
Well, I'm pretty sure I can. I will just go through the chat logs of our Telegram channel.
Yeah,
Damn
we
it.
should probably throw away old logs at some point. I mean, it's
There's
not
a lot of good stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure like Charlie's passwords are all there somewhere.
Yeah, and yeah. Also now with the live stream, we have to be a bit more careful with what we say, because usually we cut out the really bad stuff.
That's
No.
why I said we shouldn't do a live stream. We're censoring right now, self-censoring.
I mean, yeah, normally we have a whole bit on how Whale Panda can't speak English, and we haven't even like done that once.
And racism, so much racism.
Against
But
Asian.
that's usually because of Ricardo.
What?
Yeah, blame the African.
Wow, I'm offended. I'm so shocked. I would never, ever in a million years imply that Charlie and Samson look like the same person. That would just be rude.
Okay, thanks, Will.
Okay, well, at least no one made a Corona joke yet, so that's something.
Are we talking about the coronavirus?
It's live, yeah. It's a good thing for Bitcoin, apparently. Some
Is it?
Ripple. Yeah, so there was a post about it on Financial Times, and they quoted like two guys who were like had almost no followers and were like clearly Ripple chills, like fiat currencies. They carry bacteria, so that's bad.
So that's why the Bitcoin price went up.
Yep.
Is there any correlation between the number of coronavirus cases and the Bitcoin price?
Well, it is over 9,000 corona cases. So
Yeah. We need to factor into stock to flow.
Okay, don't get me started on that. Next topic. What else we have? Oh yeah, this is actually an interesting one. So Kraken yesterday posted about Trezor, warning people that Trezor isn't safe. But it looks like it's the same attack that Ledger did a couple of months ago or years ago. So just use your passphrase and problem solved.
So actually, it does build on the same on the what is it called? It was the glitching attack, wallet fail or whatever it is called. It builds on the same body of research, but basically after that talk, then Trezor went back to the drawing board and they added a bunch of mitigations. And now Kraken have found ways to perform the glitching attack despite those mitigations. So I think the general sort of rule here is Trezor in particular is in the current form is very prone to glitching attacks. And so use the BIP39 passphrase. It does make it more cumbersome, but at least the passphrase is installed on the device. And so it's almost like a second factor of authentication.
But I wonder if the Ledger devices are more susceptible because the passphrase is actually stored on the device, right? You use a PIN code.
That's a good question. The Ledger devices with this particular style of attack are less susceptible because they have, like Cold Card, they have a secure element. The downside of a secure element is that you need to then have like agreements with the manufacturer, and there's a whole like cover thing where you can't disclose details about it, then they can't disclose details about things. So it's almost like built under a shroud of mystery. And Trezor's approach was let's make it open source so people can build their own Trezor clones. So very different approaches. With the one you can sort of just roll your own with a breadboard if you really wanted to. With the other, you have to purchase it from you have to purchase a Cold Card or a Ledger. There are no knockoffs and no clones. But then you get the added advantage of secure elements. And I think based on the discussions I've had with the Ledger guys, with Thomas, and then obviously with Rodolfo, the secure element way seems to definitely be the preferred route for securing secrets.
One side topic, I've seen a lot of, or I'm seeing a lot of people like giving away sealed ledgers or sealed Trezors. I think that's kind of like a bad idea because you kind of want to make sure you buy your ledgers and Trezors directly from the manufacturer because you never know if it's been tampered with and you just don't want to take that risk. So people were giving, go ahead.
Do you guys remember that attack from, I think it was 2 years ago, where someone was selling ledgers on eBay that they basically like generated a wallet on it. They'd taken the 20 words, they'd printed it out on a very nice card and put that like scratch off silver stuff on it. And then it was like, to activate your ledger, just scratch off your 20 words here. And so people were like, wow, it's great. Preloaded, everything's fantastic, without thinking through the fact that at the very least you should like flash the firmware and start from scratch.
It's actually a very smart attack.
It's
Yeah.
extreme. And I'm sure that guy got away with getting a few people, or maybe he's just like he hasn't even let people know, hasn't stolen anything, and he's just letting it build up.
I forgot which one it was, Trezor or Ledger, but I think one of them will validate your device to make sure it's authentic when you plug it in.
I think Trezor does the validation, make sure the firmware and everything is.
Yeah, maybe it's
signed.
Trezor. Yeah. But I think the bigger problem is people don't know to do these things, and that's why it is an attack vector. And the only thing that could fix that is education.
Yeah, because the thing is, even if you have like some sort of self-validation, then if that chip can be reprogrammed, then you can just reprogram it to skip the validation.
Yeah.
Okay, so someone has asked, first of all, Bruce Fenton. I don't know if it's really Bruce, but apparently Bruce is in the chat. Hi, Bruce.
Bruce.
We'll see you at MCC. And also some guys asking if we can talk at 1.75 x speed. So because he normally listens to us like this, and I can't do that. I'm sorry.
Especially because of your accent.
Yeah. Oh, blame the Belgian guy again.
Yeah.
It's so easy for you guys.
Is that really Bruce in the chat?
It's either Bruce or his scammer.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what's the difference?
Oh.
Just kidding.
Okay, guys.
I'm just gonna believe it's Bruce until he asks me to send that Bitcoin to him.
Yeah, well, don't buy Trezors or Ledgers from people in our chat.
Yeah, that's true. So quick shout out and request to Bruce. Get me William Shatner to endorse Infinite Fleet.
Why?
I was hoping that now we're doing a live show that you wouldn't bring up your scams, but yeah.
Now I can shill all my stuff without any censorship. Like like 30% of the episode is like them cutting out Blockstream shilling.
Yeah, it is.
Liquid. I don't know if anyone's told you about it. You should take a look at it. It's called Liquid. It's amazing.
New
Liquid.
website, liquid.net too.
Liquid, like water.
Yes.
Yeah, Samson, Liquid.
Thank you, guys.
What's next?
What's
Monero?
next? We have another topic. So so was it yesterday that Jack Mallers released Strike, which is a new app for Android and I guess even the web browser plugin and Mac OS, which allows you to pay Lightning invoices directly with your bank account or with your debit card, which is really like amazing. I watched the videos. If you haven't seen it, you should watch them too. It's really like instant, and you don't need Bitcoin, you don't need Lightning, you don't need channels, you don't need nodes. It just like
Just works.
it just works. It's
Crazy.
Yeah, well, it's based on he created like a platform called Olympus, I guess, and it's built on top of that. But I don't understand how it goes directly from your bank account, how you enable that to work with.
I mean, there's definitely it's a centralized service, right? He's providing, like he's the one, the intermediary doing.
Yeah. Well, obviously, but so you have to give your bank details.
Yeah, I think you link up your bank details in Olympus. I haven't played with it. I don't think it's open to the public yet, but
Yeah, no, I tried looking for it. I couldn't find it.
I've asked him for a beta. He's gonna let me in, and I'll play around with it.
What?
I guess we can
So now
talk
he's
about it.
playing favorites amongst the magical crypto friends.
Well, Samson, if you want, I can arrange for Bobby Lee to give you a beta of the new ballet.
I can't wait.
I know people, so I'll do that favor.
He knows watches also.
Yeah, I'll take a beta of a new Richard Mille watch.
It's called Richard Mille.
Yeah, no, I was
Whatever.
going to say, it's like saying it's a hublot. Let's
Yeah.
just
You sound like Craig Wright. Samson, you sounded like Craig Wright.
Okay, fine. So I don't have a Richard Mill.
It's
Richard Mille.
Richard Mille.
Richard Mille.
Yeah, if you want, we can start speaking in French as well. I guess I'm the best one for that. So then I can make fun of your dialects.
You
Sure,
speak
then
French?
I'll start speaking Afrikaans.
Obviously. I live in Belgium. But actually, my English is better than my French because I don't use French often. Because I live in the north of the country and they speak French in the south of the country. But
I used to speak French.
What?
I used to
Me
speak
too.
French.
You used to speak French. Ah, yes. Yeah.
I lived in
That makes
Côte
sense.
d'Ivoire.
I used to speak French too because we have to study it in Canada.
I can say like 3 things in French, but you know, if you want, I can navigate a German food menu at a restaurant. So there's
Yeah.
that.
And what are the 3 things? Bonjour, bonsoir, voulez-vous coucher avec moi?
Ça va bien?
Ça va comme ci, comme ça.
Comme si- comme ça.
If you know Flight of the Conchords, then I can do like the whole Fudu Fafa song. You know, I mean, important things like that.
I only remember the stuff in school, like asseyez-vous, s'il vous plaît, which is sit down.
In a very nice way.
In a nice
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
You have nice teachers.
Yeah.
It always makes me wonder, like, how many people speak multiple languages. Probably not the right place to talk about this right now, but yeah. Because you guys always making fun of my English, so screw you guys.
Oh, I'm sorry. For what it's worth, I can't speak whale or panda, so you know.
But I can probably speak some Afrikaans as well, so at least
It's
understand.
We can have a whole conversation in broken Dutch Afrikaans.
Yeah.
Hey,
So,
speaking of African stuff, are you gonna get Elon Musk to speak at MCC?
Yes,
that's a
I mean,
surprise guest.
you know, all South Africans know each other.
He's your poet, right?
We're in a WhatsApp group called #South Africa, and I'll message him after this and be like, @Elon, please come talk at MCC. No problem.
Okay, you do that.
I thought the WhatsApp group was rich South Africans. So
Yeah.
You have to do stuff like state capture for that.
Okay. So I guess nothing to add about Strike. I think Chick Morris is really onto something here. He's done so much actually for Lightning, and he'll probably be one of the speakers as well. I specifically asked him, so I guess we'll announce him in the next couple of days.
So the interesting thing is, for Strike, he didn't get much flack that it's centralized, and
I think
some people would have if they launched it. But I think he did a really good job about explaining the use case and how he did user research about making people use Bitcoin and use Lightning. And I think you do need to have some degree of centralization to make it really easy for people to get on board. And it's worth it in the end if you can get adoption up.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty cool product. And I also talked to him about, he's also looking at doing the reverse, right? Where merchants can use Strike to accept fiat, and then they can create Lightning invoices that people send Lightning to pay for.
Mm-hmm.
So it could go both ways. I think yeah, I'll try it out. I think it sounds very cool.
Yes. So you can pay like you can pay with it, but you can also like just buy Bitcoin with it basically. So that's another good use case.
Yep.
Yeah, basically just use it to create an invoice and then pay with Strike via your bank account. I'm sure the fees will be pretty high, but
yeah, before we can actually use it. But well, you were in the beta, so you should know if you tested it.
I will check it out later.
Okay. So what else? That's about it. Yeah, that's about it, about the topics that we wrote down at least.
Someone's asked me to talk a little bit about Davos. I was in Davos for a week for the World Economic Forum. So maybe a bit of background. This is my third Davos for WEF. I have been like inside the actual WEF auditorium and watched some talks before, but this time around, I basically ignored the main WEF event and focused on side events. There are a number of side events happening every day, and some of them are really good. Indonesia Night is fantastic. It's where the country of Indonesia puts on a dinner, and basically like everyone goes there and makes a mad rush for the buffet. I spoke at a bunch of events as well. That was really nice.
You hung out with your buddy Nouriel Roubini?
Yes, so I was on a panel with Nouriel Roubini. There is a video of that panel floating around. I think one of the Cardano guys posted it up. It was pretty embarrassing for like to even be on a panel with him. He's such a moron. Basically, like the thing that he kept going down or hammering down on was that he doesn't trust his data or the privacy of his data to a Bitcoin miner in Kazakhstan or Russia, but he does trust his data to the US government, as if Bitcoin miners have some magical insight into transactions. I think maybe Nouriel thinks that when you conduct business on Bitcoin or you send a transaction, that you phone up a miner in Kazakhstan and you're like, "Hello, miner, this is Ricardo. Here's my passport. I'd like to send a Bitcoin transaction." And then you just trust the miner doesn't tell anyone.
Maybe he actually got that before. He was scammed by some guy in Kazakhstan saying, "I'm a Bitcoin miner." And that's why he's so bitter.
It could be. It was just so weird. It was like I didn't quite understand what he was what he was trying to say, you know, like, and it was really bad to imply that we should, you know, trust any organization or centralized body or government with our data when they have such a bad track record of looking after it, and everyone in the room knew it. Then it's just bad. It's just silly.
So did you call him out and tell him that that's silly and that's wrong?
Oh yeah, I mean, like unfortunately the panel was short. It was only 20 minutes, and Michael Casey from CoinDesk did such a great job moderating it. But he did such a great job that he gave Nouriel equal time, which I thought was really unfair. He should have giving us more time. But yeah, I mean, it was made pretty clear. Brittany Kaiser from who used to be at the company that did the Facebook thing. She was also really good in sort of ideating around why owning your own data is important, and why, you know, taking your data and just giving it to an organization and hoping that no one within the organization will ever be bad and no one will ever hack that organization's data or whatever is just, I mean, she did a really good job with that. But Nouriel, even then, like, I brought up the topic of your data being hacked, and he was like, yes, but how many times has Bitcoin been hacked or an exchange been hacked? Which, you know, like, again, what difference does that make from a privacy perspective? I mean, yeah, there's a nuanced argument around an exchange gets hacked and now some of your metadata gets leaked because of that. But I mean, again, it's because you're trusting a centralized third party instead of like owning that stuff yourself. And sure, you might have to, but it's his understanding of how Bitcoin itself works is just weird.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, there have been a lot of big data breaches as well, which are not Bitcoin related at all. So that makes no sense. But you also said you were surprised by Saifedean's comments about privacy, that he was against Coinjoins or something like that.
Yeah, that was also a little bit odd to me. Like, I have enjoyed his book. I think it's historically inaccurate in parts, but it's certainly a book that I recommend people reading. I share a lot of his views on the need for hard money. We differ in some of our views in terms of where the future is going to go. I certainly don't agree with him that everyone's going to magically flock towards Bitcoin and give everything and not touch anything else, because just historically humans are very bad at doing things that are good for them. They'd much rather like, you know, be on their phone 37 hours a day. But that aside, he had some weird views on privacy. He said, for example, that privacy on Bitcoin is not necessary because Bitcoiners don't want privacy, as evidenced by the fact that a quarter of all Bitcoin is on exchanges that are KYC'd. So those Bitcoiners have agreed to give up all privacy. And another quarter has left exchanges, but is still easily traceable back to that person when it wasn't an exchange. So since more than half of all Bitcoin is trivially traceable down to a person, it's clear that Bitcoiners don't want privacy. I tend to disagree.
That's circular logic, right?
Yeah, I mean,
because there's no privacy, that's why people can't easily become private.
Exactly, and I think that then the other thing that he raised, which I found kind of odd, was he kept talking about how the people that need Bitcoin most are people in places where the governments might be a lot more authoritarian than we're used to, because then there's, you know, Bitcoin's property of censorship resistance is really important to them, which I absolutely agree with. And I pointed out that censorship resistance is an important property, but those people need privacy as well. Otherwise, there's a form of censorship resistance in that you can do the transaction, but then the government can see you've done the transaction and go and physically censor you. And he said, yes, that's fine, but the thing is, Bitcoin has enough privacy for situations like that, because your recipient can create a new address, you can create a new address, and the government just sees two addresses transacting. They can't see, you know, who's actually doing what. Which,
yeah, but you're leaking a lot of metadata when you transact too, and that's the problem people don't understand. And I think I forgot who, but someone said it's really hard to use Bitcoin privately, and that's if you're taking everything into account. And I think that's true.
Well, saying that creating new addresses gives you privacy is a pretty weak argument. I mean, that's I would say a big misunderstanding of how Bitcoin addresses and transactions work.
Yeah, I think that to me the whole like Bitcoin Core automatically creating new change addresses and that sort of thing was almost like like this thing that Satoshi did after the fact to just add some privacy, because like, oh, okay, this is actually kind of bad if you're just reusing addresses. So it definitely feels like an afterthought, and the fact that anyone looks at that afterthought and says this provides meaningful privacy is kind of worrying. I'm hoping that he'll come around. I don't think that this is his view forever, or that, like, you know, he's always going to be think that privacy is somehow like disconnected from Bitcoin. One of the other guy on the panel from XPTO though did bring up a point that Saifedean seemed to agree with, and that is that if Bitcoin adds meaningful privacy, that it will face pushback from regulators. That is something that I think I agree with. It might certainly do that, but I'm hoping that by the time Bitcoin adds enough meaningful privacy that regulators start to sort of go, oh dear, what's happening here? That at that point in time, Bitcoin will be so ubiquitous that it'll be too late.
Well, it's also going to be really hard to get any privacy related changes in, like significant ones. Like we have some minor ones with the coming BIPs going in, like Taproot, Graph-root, Schnorr signatures, but anything substantial like CT, it's doubtful if that'll ever get in.
So
it'll be too big of a change, right? So
yeah.
Actually, talking about Taproot, anyone want to give their thoughts on the Taproot BIP? That was a question from Red Rage. You know that I'm not a technical guy, so that's either for Charlie or for Rick, I guess.
I think it's awesome that the BIP is out, right? And people can look at it, and I think there's not going to be as much controversy compared to like SegWit. So it's a funny thing that when SegWit happened like 2 years ago, I made a tweet saying that one of the reasons why SegWit was so controversial is because it actually increased the block size. If SegWit did not touch the block size at all, then it's just a technical feature, and it would just actually not have any controversy, and it would be approved. It will go in pretty easily. So Taproot is not touching the block size, so I think it's going to be fine.
Yeah. And I think on retrospect, we shouldn't have touched the block size with SegWit. They're too big now.
Doesn't Luke Dasher have a proposal for much smaller blocks?
Yeah.
One thing I will say, I mean, the fact that we actually have some bips going up around Schnorr signatures and so on is great. We don't have anyone in the Bitcoin space currently who's really focusing on cross-input signature aggregation. So a lot of the privacy benefits require that. It's still a while. I think it's a while away from really taking hold, and you know, the stuff needs to be staged, right? You need to have like, let's do this first, and then that, and then the other. And I think that that cross-input aggregation is like way down the line. There's a bunch of steps before that, and hopefully by the time we reach the end, then we'll have incentivized coin joins like that are really really easy, that can be abstracted away. And also the nice thing about that is it doesn't increase transaction sizes substantially. It doesn't leak a bunch of metadata. So yeah, there's some cool stuff that'll happen, but at the moment it's just 3 bips that are really sort of much more narrowly focused.
Yeah, the cross input aggregation stuff will require a lot of thought on how to do like better user interface. Right? How would people sign transactions and pass it to each other and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be very exciting, but it's going to take some work to figure all that out.
Yeah, but there's stuff that we can do that's outside of protocol level changes. So I'm going to push to get some adoption on pay join or pay to endpoint this year, and hopefully we'll see some.
And then everyone can just do LBTC on Liquid.
Yeah, they can use LBTC on Liquid. That's very privacy preserving. And HODL now supports Liquid Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Isn't HODL the one that dropped support of altcoins?
Yeah.
Yeah, it did, because there was no volume for it.
But they support Liquid Bitcoin.
Yeah, because it's Bitcoin.
They're gonna drop it also soon.
No.
Before we talk about Liquid, backtrack a little bit to Coinjoin. Someone's asking for our thoughts on Trace Mayer's comment on Bitcoiners shouldn't Coinjoin because it adds taint.
Did we talk about it last time?
Yeah, we did. Remember? We talked about merchants and taint.
Yeah, so watch episode 34, probably. One thing actually we didn't talk about that I had written down is, Charlie, you proposed that some of the miners pay like a percentage to the Litecoin Foundation.
Yeah,
how was that received?
Well, the thing is, I thought the Bitcoin Cash like tax is kind of ridiculous to kind of force everyone to do it. But I think miners may want to support the network, and they may want to donate a small percent, like 1% of the block reward to Litecoin companies, or like Litecoin Foundation, or even other Litecoin organizations. So I proposed that to the community, right, and also talk to miners about it, talk to miners and pools about it. I think they're receptive of it. They don't want to kind of be the only pool. The pools don't want to be the only pool that does it, because then all the miners would leave them if they're making less money off from this pool versus everyone else. So I guess that's why they propose like doing the orphaning, right, for Bitcoin Cash, because they want to make sure everyone does it, so that no one pool is at a disadvantage. But I think having something that is voluntary, where miners can decide to donate 1% to the Litecoin Foundation if they want to, I think some miners will do it because it helps the network, helps Litecoin. So I actually talked to Litecoin Pool, one of the largest Litecoin mining pools, and the guy running it agreed, and he's going to add an optional donation for 1% or however much people want to Litecoin Foundation. So we'll see. He's going to implement that soon.
Is that for the individual miners to choose in the pool?
For the individual miners to choose. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Potentially the pool could say default to donation, and the miner can decide to turn that off. But I definitely think a forced donation is stupid. I mean, the way Bitcoin Cash is doing it, it's very centralizing, right? It's the pools are deciding to donate to a corporation that they control, that they can spend the money the way they want. Having individual miners decide to donate if they want to whatever organization they want is probably a better option. and possibly even like having exchanges donate trading fees to the respective organizations, because exchanges make so much money off of Litecoin and all these other coins, but they're not really giving back to the community.
And if they don't, then Charlie's gonna 51% attack them.
Yeah, I'm just gonna tell people not to use the exchange.
No debate theory.
No debate theory.
Yeah, but that's a valid point. I think Poloniex also gave some money to Grin developers.
Did they?
Are you sure they didn't give it to Tron developers?
Well, before Justin took over, I think it was Grin. But anyway, yeah, a lot of those exchanges make a lot of money, also mostly from trading Bitcoin, and give so little back to like Bitcoin development, which is still a major issue. And that's also.
We have a lot of companies supporting Bitcoin development now. I think we're in a pretty good place.
Yeah, a lot, because, but still, like something like Coinbase, what are they doing?
I don't know, pumping crypto kitties.
Yeah, well, exactly. I think that a lot more can be done, especially then funding like for layer 2, for Lightning devs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Weren't Coinbase going to put together a team to develop an alternate Bitcoin full node implementation?
I thought they had that a long time ago, that Brian Armstrong coded up himself.
No. I mean,
No, okay,
Coinbase,
so
Coinbase did have people working on like a node implementation, but I think they scrapped that project.
They also had like a Litecoin developer, and he left after a couple of months, and they just didn't replace him either. So yeah.
And that Litecoin developer was Charlie Lee.
That's what I was just going to say. That.
Did I say Litecoin? I meant Lightning.
Litecoin. You meant Lightning.
Yeah, it's all the same stuff anyway.
Yeah,
I don't know the difference.
They didn't replace me with another Litecoin developer.
Yeah.
But it's actually also one of the reasons why we're doing MCC. It's to get people excited about Bitcoin, about Bitcoin development, get companies together with developers and stuff like that. And also why we're doing the Lightning demo room this year, where 10 projects will be picked, and they can convince people who coming to our conference about funding them.
Yeah. So you can find the conference website at magicalcryptoconference.com. We're selling tickets. You can pick up early bird tickets now. And if you want to sponsor parts of the conference, like the Lightning Developer Room, just email sponsor@magicalcryptoconference. Is it sponsor or sponsors?
That's a good question. This is the kind of stuff that we normally cut out.
Yeah.
Let's make sure they both work. How about that?
No, this is stuff we bolt on at the end, and then we tell the editor, put that back in.
It's sponsors.
Okay, sponsors with an S.
Yes.
Yeah. And subscribe.
And
hit that subscribe. Wait, let me see. Hey, we can actually figure it out this time because it's live, right? Is it this side?
It's this side. No, wait, it's this side.
Let's see. There's a little delay in the show, so let's see what side it's on.
Please click here to subscribe. Also, click like. We have 2 dislikes. Who disliked? Okay, that was Roger Ver and Kelvin, I guess.
Yeah.
It's actually Bruce Hampton.
Damn it, Bruce.
Bruce, why did you click dislike?
Because we called him a scammer.
We didn't.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. It's the other side. It's this side. Hit this subscribe button. You were right, Will Pan.
So it's the right side.
It's my left side.
It's my left.
It's my left.
It's the right.
See, and this is also the kind of stuff we normally cut out just because it's just us arguing very stupid things. And then we easily fill up an hour, which is now, it's exactly 60 minutes right now. So do we have any more questions?
Check the chat.
Yeah,
I haven't noticed anything that we haven't covered.
Smash the like and stuff like that.
Do we support
Yes.
Super Chat where people can pay to send us messages? We should.
Someone has asked about Bullfunnel and those products. I think that's a great topic to cover in the next episode.
Well, we're gonna actually do tests like LOP. We're gonna burn them and
Live.
Smash
We're gonna
them.
do it live.
We're just
Yes.
gonna
we should.
Bob's Medium post and read it out from start to finish.
No. I think we gotta do it live. So go buy the equipment, Rick.
Yeah, I'll just put it on the disappointers and buy
This is not a free advertisement. It's from 2 years ago. Because I like this. I never used it because it's a special one. It's with my panda.
Oh, I have one of those too, but with a pony on.
My lion one is on the bookcase behind me, but you can't see it. It's right there.
It's very cool when people give us customized free stuff.
Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Julio wants to know if we can do an episode in a restaurant eating ramen.
Then I need to get paid. I will do it. I have no issues with that, but I need to get paid. And not just the dinner either.
Okay. We need to find a sponsor for our restaurant episode where we review ramen.
Let's find a ramen restaurant to sponsor us.
We can do it when we're all in New York anyway. Because someone asked if we're all going to be there this year. And I said, yes, obviously.
Yes.
Well, Rick is still a wild card.
I know. I am determined to not send a robot twice in a row. Fool me once, shame on the robot. Fool me twice, shame on everyone else.
You
You
sound
know-
like George Bush.
I think there's a high likelihood. We should make a betting pool. Will Rick actually show up?
We can use Augur for that.
What's Augur?
Is that still a thing? I don't think anyone ever used it.
I think it's still around.
around. So more successful than TruStory.
Actually,
Oh, that's toxic.
actually, HODL has a predictions market. You can do it on HODL, and then you can actually pay with Bitcoin.
Mm.
And on that high note,
Yeah, well, we normally have like a joke also to end it, or like some strange bullshit. Or,
Outtakes.
yeah.
We should have outtakes.
How are we gonna do live outtakes? Remember when I said earlier that I actually wanted to say.
I think the first 10 minutes of this episode were enough of a joke. So it's
Oh, but actually, the funny thing is, people actually click the like button.
After you
Click it again. No, wait, that doesn't work like that.
No, don't click it again.
Okay, so did you guys actually enjoy this more now that it's live, or do you like to see more like our previous ones with the green screen, with the cool green screen, and with the animations, and with the like the tweets here, or the or
I like the old
this?
format.
also tweets and all that. Yeah, we just need to prepare them in advance instead of like thinking about it at the time and then asking the poor editor to add it in afterwards.
Well, I know that Samsung prefers the old version because then he has a more finished product, because he doesn't like the spontaneity of it all. He likes to have everything in control. He's kind of a control freak and stuff like that. So
Well, it is more polished. Like if you're watching the episode and you don't know everything that's going on, you have the reference, you have the tweets that come up. It's just better.
yeah, but
So
now
they-
we actually have an interaction. So I said some things in chat. Ricardo said some things. You said some things.
I
Only
like
Charlie didn't, I guess.
I like this format, and I think that with a little bit more preparation, this can be as polished.
Let's see.
I like this format. I like to talk about stuff that gets aired right away, so it's not stale.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the whole point. And also, we save money on our editor. Yay!
Then we don't have nicely polished ads with the movie voice and all that stuff.
Also, we can't put fake virtual makeup on Samsung afterwards.
Yeah, I know.
I'd like to point out that I'm perfectly happy to do the movie voice like live.
What are you gonna do? Get like a microphone? What's that? Megaphone.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Ricardo always gets it in one take, so doing it live is the same. So
No, actually, that's the thing. He takes like 10 takes.
no,
Well-
he does it very well. Like a lot of it's just one take.
So someone just said, Julio just said that Panda's English is better in the live. So maybe it's also because now it's evening. We usually record in the morning. Now for me it's evening, so I'm a bit more awake now. Just had some wine as well. That also helps.
So the editor hasn't added in a bunch of errors, to make you look bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
To make me look bad.
We usually run it through a filter to like scramble it a little bit just to mess with you.
I know it. I should really rewatch the old episodes to figure it out.
We should end the episode now because otherwise it's going to run on too long.
Okay.
66 minutes. Perfect. So thank you guys for watching. Next one will probably be live as well because I really at least 2 of us liked it. So it's 50-50. And remember to subscribe and buy your MCC tickets and come to MCC. And thank you for watching.
Yep.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Cue the outro.
Bye. Don't forget to play the outro.
Outro. Come on. Rick.